Hello there! Well, here we are. Christmas time is fast approaching, and I'm back in this chair. We've had a long year. Real wacky stuff has gone down this time. The Minecraft movie exists, Mikado Avocado pulled the plot twist of the century, the Olympics proved once again that the French shouldn't be allowed to do anything, ever. The election gave us another 4 years of excellent memes. Taylor Swift is still relevant somehow. Why have we not fixed that yet? Cybertrucks rolled out. AI is getting ever closer to achieving sentience and beginning the robot uprising. And we can't forget the ever-increasing certainty of World War III breaking out. That's gonna be so much fun. Real excited for that. Especially now that I'm legally old enough to be drafted. That's just. I'm not even gonna mention Chris Chan having a child because honestly, I somehow find that worse than World War III. Now's not the time to acknowledge the abject horror of the world around us. Now's the time to focus on what's important this time of year. Togetherness, family, and of course, weird freaking movies. And we've got a special picture for you today, folks. An interesting piece of animation that our research team discovered after a single Google search. A film to really get you into the Christmas spirit. This is Filmation's A Snow White Christmas. Yeah, no, we're basically halfway to Christmas already. Plus, Christmas gets more attention than Thanksgiving. Yeah, but I've never followed up on an ending teaser. Plus, the Stratum video took way longer than I expected. Hey man, I had a lot going on. College classes aren't easy. Plus the weather changed, so my allergies flared up. How would you know? You're a turkey! How dare you? I'll have you know, I graduated top of my class in the Navy SEALs, and I've been involved in numerous secret government raids. I graduated top of my class, and I just realized...
Should we, cut to the intro or something? Probably, but I'm gonna keep watching. This is hilarious. Alright then! Good thing I brought popcorn. Can I have some? No.
A Snow White Christmas is a 1980 animated television special, produced by the company Filmation and telecast on the CBS network. The film is a sequel to the original Grimm fairy tale Snow White, and is unrelated to another Filmation-produced Snow White sequel entitled Happily Ever After. If the name Filmation sounds familiar, it's because they're actually a very prolific producer, responsible for a number of both live-action and animated projects throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Some of their more notable projects include The Ghostbusters, not to be confused with Ghostbusters, a 1975 live-action children's sitcom that starred two bumbling detectives and their gorilla sidekick as they investigated ghosts. Yes, this is real. There's a really good defunct TV episode on it if you want more info. The company was most known for their animated projects, however, many of which were based on existing television series or popular franchises, or at least ones that were popular 50 years ago. Some of the most interesting of this quite expansive list include The Brady Kids, Lassie's Rescue Rangers, Gilligan's Planet. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a spin-off of Gilligan's Island where they go to space for some godforsaken reason. And of course, possibly their most well-known production, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. That one didn't age quite so well. This movie in particular was produced by Filmation's founder, a guy named Lou Schemer. I don't think I said his name right, I'm sorry. The son of a German Jew who, according to family legend, was forced to flee Germany in the early 1920s after punching a young Adolf Hitler. Clearly, he didn't punch hard enough. As previously stated, this film is not a sequel to the Disney animated film, because that would be a lawsuit, and instead is a sequel to the original Grimm fairy tale. You know, the one where the evil queen is put into a pair of boiling hot shoes and forced to dance at Snow White's wedding until she drops dead. Yeah, old fairy tales were metal. Filmation wanted to start producing sequels to classic fairy tales, and they chose Snow White in particular because no one had made a film exploring what happens after the ending. Like, on one hand, I suppose I have to respect trying to break into an untapped market, but like on the other hand, I don't think you really need to explore what happens after the end, because, you know, happily ever after and all that jazz. I think everyone just assumes it's all wrapped up. No one wants to see Snow White 2, Snow White and the Prince's marriage devolves into bitter resentment due to the monotony of domestic life. Or maybe they do. I don't know. There's enough angry comments on my Mars Attacks video to prove that people will watch anything, no matter how unpleasant. Hi friends, this is your daily reminder. Mars Attacks is bad, and nothing you say can change that. The film was criticized upon release for its chaotic plot points. And according to Wikipedia, it received a 3 out of 5-star rating from the most reputable of film review sources, Terry Rowan's Having a Wonderful Christmas Time Film Guide. No, I do not know who Terry Rowan is, or what a Having a Wonderful Christmas Time Film Guide is, just go with it. The film, however, does have a solid 5.8 out of 10 rating on IMDb, meaning we're either in for some grade A garbage or the most boring movie ever made. There's also the innate possibility that the movie is somewhat decent or maybe even good, but I'm not going to put much stock into that option. Aside from that, the film is basically completely forgotten. An obscure little piece of TV animation history with no real impact on society. But is that all there is here? Oh yeah, absolutely, but it should make for a fun video nonetheless. So without further invocation of Bill Cosby, let's take a look at A Snow White Christmas. Roll film. The movie opens, immediately. Starts immediately, no title card. I don't like the look of any of these characters so far. So we're less than 5 seconds into this movie, and I already have no idea what's happening. There's the world's most generic-looking king and queen, some albino girl in a red Peter Pan getup, and some kind of demented Keebler elf-looking ginger thing just kinda hanging around. Then we just immediately cut to a montage of inane, vaguely Christmas-related things, like eating ornaments. My favorite holiday tradition. Why am I doing this? The cast of Woodland Critter Christmas also makes an appearance. That's fun. Anyway, after some complete nonsense with the ginger goblin, the badly animated wheels of plot can finally start turning. This albino girl is actually Snow White. These two ding-dongs right here are her parents, the rulers of the Kingdom of Noel. And because this is supposed to be a sequel, they're also the original Snow White and Prince Charming. This is basically irrelevant to the plot and could be completely removed from the movie with little to no consequence. Speaking of things that could be removed from the movie with little to no consequence, the freaky little gremlin thing here is actually named Grunion. I have no idea what he is or why he's here, and there's something about him that profoundly unsettles me in a way I can't fully describe. He looks like the kind of thing that I would have to chase out of my kitchen late at night with a broom. Disturbing gnome creatures aside, we've successfully entered the incomprehensible dialogue phase of the movie, as Snow White goes on a totally unhinged tirade about decreeing a new happiness. Whatever the heck that means.
You've decreed a new happiness for the people of Noel each Christmas. I want to decree a new happiness for all of the children of Noel.
I'll take broken English for 800.
From what I could piece together of this absurd word vomit, and by cheating off the Wikipedia plot summary, Snow White wants to build a playhouse for the kingdom's children, and suggests remodeling an old deserted castle. This statement triggers the king and queen's Nom flashbacks, because the castle used to belong to the Wicked Queen, who vanished years ago apparently. Just gonna leave out all the stuff about the hot burning shoes, I guess. So the king and queen ride off, thankful that the Wicked Queen will never possibly return. No way, no how. And then immediately a massive solar death ray shines down, reflecting off of this stained glass umbrella and melting a conveniently placed block of ice. I have no idea why that happened, just go with it. Turns out that block of ice, for some reason, contained the Wicked Queen, and she is a total ripoff of the Disney version of the character. To be fair though, there is one main difference between this queen and the Disney one. This queen isn't an evil queen, she's a wicked queen, and that makes her legally distinct enough for us to not get sued. I mean, I'm not exactly surprised they ripped off the Disney version. Honestly, I'm more so disappointed. I was hoping they might go in some new, weird direction like they did with Snow White. Meanwhile, at this unused Scooby-Doo locale, we learn that the Wicked Queen is actually a Sith Lord. We also learn that the magic mirror exists in this movie, and its design is also completely stolen. Again, movie, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And a little bit mad. So much to the Queen's chagrin, not only is Snow White still the fairest of them all, but now there are 2 of them. And she plans to make the Queen's decrepit evil castle into a glorified McDonald's play place.
You would not dare so challenge my rightful authority and my powers.
No one even knows who you are, you crazy bint! Queen Wicked McEvilface runs down to the castle's gamer basement to whip up some G-Fuel and send a magic storm down to the kingdom, destroying the kingdom's Christmas decorations and causing the peasants to run off in terror. Snow White's parents, meanwhile, are— oh, wait, nope, they're frozen. Okay. Having seen her parents turn to corpsicles before her very eyes, Snow White flees in terror along with Grunion, as the entire kingdom freezes over. With our inciting suitably incidented— that's a weird line, why did I write it like that? We can finally start the story for real by sliding into the background of a completely different movie. I'm sorry, but how the heck did we get here? All it took was one sled ride to get from the Antarctic waste to some national park. Like, I know it's a fairy tale and whatnot, but come on. This movie is just total chaos. You look away for a second and immediately get hit with some new out-of-left-field scene or sudden plot development. Like, for example, the protagonist landing on a giant tomato. I don't even know how this happened, it just did! Okay, look, I'm not crazy, alright? I swear, this movie has a mind of its own. See, look, right here, okay? See, they're on the sled, alright? Everything's cool, everything's good, and then I look away, and then I look away, right, okay? And look, now they're on the tomato! Look at that! I swear, this stuff is just happening! I'm not crazy! Look at there it is! That's the front door to my house. Okay, so I think I need to, oh my god! Okay, so I'm just gonna, alright, I'm just gonna, oh my god! Turns out the tomato belongs to these freaks, the 7 friendly giants. They're like the 7 dwarves, but, you know, the exact opposite. Because they're giants. There's Corny, a hillbilly stereotype that, as a country bumpkin myself, I find incredibly offensive. Finicky, who's obsessed with cleaning and gives me an incredibly easy opportunity for an OCD joke that I won't make because the legal team says that's mean. Thinker, the token smart one with an incredibly annoying airy voice that makes him sound perpetually on the verge of collapsing in on himself. Hicker, who hiccups a lot and whose name sounds way too close to a certain funny career-ending word for my liking. Thus, I will not be calling him that. Tiny, who despite his name is actually the biggest of all the giants. Do you get it? Do you get the incredibly subtle joke? Weeper, who cries constantly, and, that's about it. And finally, Brawny, this movie's stand-in for Grumpy. When I first watched this movie for the live reaction, the YouTube auto-generated captions kept calling him Brony, so that's what I'm calling him now, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. The 7 of them are introduced in quite possibly the most repetitive music number I've ever encountered. It's just one line introducing each of them, and then they sing the chorus. 7 times! This is also the only actual full-on song in the entire movie, making it feel almost surreal. Is it stupid and pretentious to call a bunch of dancing giants in silly outfits surreal? Maybe. So, oh, no, not a musical number. No! Okay, this is really redundant. Please, no, stop. Okay, are we done? Can we be done with this now? Yes, I understood that. Please don't repeat yourself. Anyway, Snow White tells her tale of woe to the giants, and they decide they're friends now. Meanwhile, back at Casa de Evil, good old Wiki finds out from the mirror that Snow White is still alive. She doesn't believe the omnipotent mirror that's been right about literally everything she's ever asked it, and goes off to check if her failed child murder really failed as badly as the mirror said it did. Meanwhile, again, back at the cabin in the inexplicable woods, Snow White's dialogue is still borderline incomprehensible.
To someone who builds mountains and carves rivers, the problems of tiny people, like us, can't seem very important.
What did any of that mean?
So now Snow White lives in some kind of tiny house clock thing. It's not even a cuckoo clock, there's no bird. It's supposed to keep her safe or something, but honestly this seems like the worst possible place the Giants could have put her, considering they put it right next to an open fireplace. Plus, the whole thing is full of moving parts just begging to give us an animated Mangler remake. To be fair though, I've lived in worse places. Turns out the Queen has been watching from outside the house. I have no idea how she can see any of what's going on inside the house, considering she has to be at least a couple 100 miles from it. But now she knows where Snow White is, I guess. Sleep, what I should probably be doing instead of sitting here watching crummy 80s movies. The next day, the Giants head off for work, and Snow White is left home alone. Grunion is also still here for some godforsaken reason. I really do not know what his purpose is outside of bad comic relief. This movie has a lot of weird things like that. I haven't even mentioned the comic relief vultures that keep following the Wicked Queen around. Speaking of the Wicked Queen, what's she doing? Oh, she's a giant rat now. Makes sense.
Wretch, we're wretch, we're the wretch. We pray at night, we stalk at night, we're the wretch.
So this whole rat thing doesn't really go anywhere, like, at all. The Rat Queen does manage to light the little house on fire, though, which I totally saw coming. Our protagonists are pretty much screwed here, except for Finicky just conveniently walking in to save them. Even the Queen thinks she was robbed of that double kill.
The little fool has amazing luck.
Back at the home on the Strange, Snow White and the Giants realize what we already knew. The Wicked Queen is after Snow White, and the Giants decide she can't be left unsupervised anymore. So instead, they choose to take her to the active excavation site they're working on. Apparently, the Giants are terraformers, and they just carve out rivers in their free time for some entirely unknown reason. This one they're digging is supposed to fill with water when the snow on this mountain falls, and they make certain to specifically mention how catastrophic it would be if all the snow were to melt at once and flood the site. Hey look, the Queen melted all the snow with her magic death beam powers, and now the river is flooding. Who could have possibly predicted this? Hey, I forgot, this is a Christmas movie. What is the Christmas? Well, I guess they're all dead. We can go home now. Very bold of the movie to just kill off all of its protagonists 2/3 of the way in, but honestly, I'm fine with, yeah, they're not dead. Of course they're not dead. We all know it, and yet for some reason they feel the need to insert this stupidly drawn-out, fake-out death scene in. Now that we've wasted time with that scene, let's waste time with another back at Idiot HQ. So the last two plans to protect Snow White failed pretty miserably, and the team decides they might as well go for the hat trick. So what's the plan this time? Well, Snow White is gonna stay at home, but this time, they're gonna leave a guard. That's it. That's the whole plan. Great job, guys! Meanwhile, back at Wicked Queen Evil Incorporated, the Queen is shocked to learn that her plan of just melting some ice and leaving didn't work, and decides, screw this, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and just pulls the same old lady and poison trick. She's got dragons this time, though. That's pretty neat, in a completely and utterly insane sort of way. She also grows to massive size in order to pretend she's related to the Giants and trick Snow White, but like, if she could do this the whole time, I don't know why she didn't go giant mode in the first place and just squish Snow White to begin with. Honestly, why did she even try pulling all those other inane tricks? Just do what worked the last time. Better yet, just bite and blast her with your magic death laser, or hit him with the Palpatine special. I'm starting to think that all that time being frozen on a random mountain may have had some kind of effect on her mental faculties.
I fell in some ice and later got thawed out by some of your scientists. Your world frightens and confuses me. Sometimes the honking horns of your traffic make me want to get out of my BMW and run off into the hills or whatever.
At least we get to see Grunion punted across the room. Honestly, he kinda had it coming. From here, the story kinda plays out how you would expect. Snow White bites the poison apple, or smells the poison flower. The Giants rush home to find the sleeping Snow White, have their cry, and then Brony forms a lynch mob to chase after the fleeing Wicked Queen. The Giants reuse the same running animation about 3 or 4 times in a row, and finally corner the Queen at her evil castle. Now it's time for the epic climax. The Queen comes out swinging by summoning a team of giant kaiju demons, meaning it's time for an all-out Giants versus demon fight. Oh, the hiccuping one caused an avalanche, and now all the demons are dead. Okay, that's cool too, I guess. Totally wasn't excited for a massive demon fight or anything. Nope, this is fine. So the Queen runs into the now collapsing castle, begging the magic mirror for more power, because apparently it was the source of her magic this whole time? Then it just breaks and she starts melting?
I am you, my queen!
What the hell was that?
Well, that epic climax was neither epic nor climactic. Might as well just start wrapping things up, I guess. The Kingdom of Noel is unfrozen. I honestly forgot that this place even existed. Including Snow White's parents. Okay, so who's gonna tell him? So everyone gathers around Snow White's comatose body and they all have a big cry. I honestly don't even know what there is to do here. There's no prince or anything, and the only magic user to ever exist just melted into a puddle and exploded. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Oh, wait, nope, she's fine now. Never mind. Fill the grave back up, we don't need it anymore.
Seriously, dude?
I genuinely have no idea why this happens. My only real guess is Christmas Miracle? Maybe? That would at least explain how in the Lord's good name this is supposed to be a Christmas movie. At least it's a happy ending, I suppose. But Snow White, being an ungrateful wretch, is upset that she didn't get to decree her Christmas playhouse or whatever the heck she wanted to do. And she whines to the whole kingdom. Only for Brony to creepily laugh and reveal he built a special Christmas castle just for her. And the movie ends with some horrific giant laughter and a reused frame of animation. Oh god, get to the point!
Everyone?
That's a horrible facial expression. Well, that was a movie that existed. Well, that's the film, folks, and, it's alright. This movie really isn't that good. But it's not necessarily awful either. The animation is kinda cheap, a lot is very obviously stolen from the Disney movie, the dialogue is near incomprehensible at times, and the storyline is chaotic and hard to follow. But at the same time, it's not really the kind of thing I can get mad about. I'm not gonna sit here and use a bunch of writing terms I googled to systematically pick apart everything this movie does wrong. It's not annoying, or insulting, or an affront to God and all his creations. It's just kinda silly. And dumb. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy certain parts of it, even if that was mostly ironically. This movie kind of fits into that perfect range of bad, but still enjoyable with just how weird and nonsensical it can get at times. Would I recommend you watch it unironically? Heck no. This movie would absolutely bore to death anyone who's not a very young child. And even then, they would have to possess an at least somewhat functional attention span to get past the first 10 to 20 minutes. You're watching this solely to riff on it, and outside of that, there really isn't much here. Honestly, I think the shorter 40-minute runtime really helped here, because if they had tried to stretch this story out to an hour and a half, I probably would not have been so forgiving with my final opinion. So all in all, a silly, innocent little movie that doesn't do much right, but isn't worth ripping to shreds, with enough ironic enjoyment to give it a final rating of 5.5 grunions out of 10. Well, I suppose that's all for this year's very special Christmas special. I wish you all a Merry Christmas, and to all a good night. Okay, how's that?
Good. I think we got everything covered. Just a heads up, though, we got a message from corporate.
From corporate? We have a corporate?
Yeah, they said they'd be sending down a package.
Okay, well, when's it supposed to get here?
Right now.
What? Ow!
Well, don't just sit there. Open the mysterious box that most likely contains some form of deadly peril.
It looks to just be some kind of Christmas tree? Oh god, we're doing a two-parter, aren't we?
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.